The exercise files for today's course are located in the video description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello everyone, my name is Trish Connor Cato. Welcome to the WordPress video course. And we'll begin this course by using the blog site we created in the WordPress beginner course. The fourth module will focus on various methods of integrating social media on your website. And then we'll learn a few methods of how to integrate podcasting on your site. We'll also discuss ways of integrating HTTPS on your site for an additional layer of security. In Module 5, you'll learn the basics about static websites, corporate and business websites, and one-page websites. Now, this course is designated for anyone new to WordPress or who is self-taught on the product you would gain from taking this course. You don't need any prior web development or programming skills. It's designed for non-technical users who are more interested in content management and search engine optimization than the technical aspects of website creation.
Looking to support our channel and get a great deal? Become a member today to unlock ad-free videos. That's right, your favorite courses without a single ad. Interested in a specific video? Purchase one of our ad-free courses individually. Looking for even more? Gain access to exams, certificates, and exclusive content at LearnitAnytime.com. More information can be found in the video description below.
And so in our fourth module, we are going to focus on social media integration, podcasting, and HTTPS. So we have 3 lessons in this module. We're going to start by integrating social media, continue on to podcasting, and end with HTTPS and SSL. Before we dig into Lesson 1, it would be helpful for you to open the Useful Links Word document in the files from the video description. There are a few URLs we're going to be using during this lesson, and it'd be great for you to be able to copy and paste them. So Lesson 1 is all about how to integrate social media on your site. There are several options for you to use. You can add social media feeds on your site, and they would display posts from your social media accounts in real time. This is a way to help you stay connected with your audience when they're taking a break from social media but still checking your site. There are built-in features for displaying your feeds from Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and TikTok, to name a few. And you would use the embed block on a page for this option. Another option is using the social icons block. You can add and configure that on a page for the required icons for the services. And this would allow your visitors to click the icon and go to your service feed. Now, in the last module, we discussed social media menus. And I said that certain themes come with them automatically. I also didn't have a theme with an included social media menu. I mentioned the one I used to use is no longer available. So since the last module, I did discover a theme that has social media menu, and you'll see how to configure that. In the last module, we use social sharing by enabling it via the WordPress customizer. So it's still on this slide, just as a reminder for you that we've done that already. And then there's an auto sharing feature, which is formerly known as Publicize. It is included in all WordPress plans, and every post you publish will automatically post to the platform you've selected. So Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Tumblr. Instagram does not allow auto posting from third-party services. That's why it's not in the list. And then there are specific platform instructions. And I'm going to move further discussion about the auto sharing feature all the way to the end of this module because we can't use it until our site is launched. And so we need to launch our site. And I don't want to do that until the end of this module because the next two modules, we're going to be creating different types of sites. So I'm going to move that feature. We'll revisit it at the very end of this module. I'm going to go ahead and edit my front page, my About Me page. This is where we're going to have a live feed from social media. Now, I want to scroll toward the bottom of the page and point out something to you. This content permissions section, this is because of our members plugin that we added. When we were configuring it, we went in, and so these are the roles. We can limit access to the content of this page to specific users that have certain roles. We don't need to do that, but I just wanted to point it out. Once we configured that plugin, every time we go in to edit a page, we'll see that content permission section at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I like to have my right panel open, my options panel. So in the upper right corner, I'm going to click the ellipsis to get that panel open. And what I'm going to do is scroll down. And actually, I'm going to click the ellipsis for right now. I don't need it open right now. Underneath that last paragraph, I'm going to click on the plus sign to add a block. And I'm going to start typing in embed. And then I'm going to grab the embed block. So here it's pretty simple. You're just going to enter a URL to embed here. So I have, and I'm only using it in the context of this video, I'm going to use Learnit's Twitter account for my embed URL. If you have an account, a Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram account, use your URL. So that URL is in that useful links Word document if you need to use it for demonstration purposes for this particular hands-on session. So once you have the URL in there, you go over to the right and you click on Embed. And now I have Learnit's Twitter feed on this page. Now there's a toolbar right above the embed block. And the first thing you see is the Twitter icon. And when I click on that, it just gives me the ability to transform it to paragraph, columns, or group. The middle, you can align it if you like. I have mine aligned center. Unroll means that it will import the entire Twitter thread directly into this page. You have an ability to edit the URL. And then your other options are accessible from the ellipsis, where you could copy or duplicate, insert before, insert after, move it. You scroll down, a few other things. If I wanted to get rid of it, I could go to the very bottom and choose Remove Twitter. I'm going to go up to my Preview button in the upper right. I'm going to tell it to preview in a new tab. And when I look at it, what I like really that's cool about it is like the actual interface. So one of your visitors could actually follow your feed right from your page. And I'm back on my edit page, and I'm going to go ahead and update this page. So our theme did not provide us with a social menu. And so we can create one in a theme that doesn't have it on a page by using the social icons block. It's not a menu per se, but your visitors will be able to visit your social media sites by using those icons, similar to what we did with the couple that we added as widgets in the right sidebar earlier, but on a page instead. So I'm going to go ahead and go back down to the bottom of this About Me page. And I want to click the plus sign to add a new block. And if you need to, you can search for it. The social icons block is what it's called. I'm going to go ahead and grab it. And it tells you right in the block to click plus to add. And that's not adding a new block. That's giving you all of the social media icons that you could potentially add here. And notice that these are all underneath widgets. So the first one that I'm going to select, let's see, I'm going to go down and I'm going to choose Facebook. So it gives me the Facebook icon. And I'm going to go ahead and add some more before I start configuring these. So I'm going to add LinkedIn. And I'm not going to add Twitter since I have my live feed on the page, but I do want to add YouTube. I'm going to go back up and also add mail. And then I can go up to the upper left corner to the right of the W to close that block inserter. So the first thing I want to do with the social icon block is I want to move the mail icon to the first position. So I'm going to select it, and then you'll see in the toolbar above it, I have the left arrow available. I'm going to move it left until it's in the first position. And you'll notice when you selected it that it wants you to enter the email address so that when a visitor clicks on that mail icon, it will start an email already addressed to say you. So you need to configure it by entering an email address. And once you enter the email address, you're going to go ahead and click that circular arrow to apply it to that icon. For the Facebook icon, I'm going to configure it by using the Learnit Facebook URL, or you can use your Facebook URL or your company's Facebook URL. I'm also going to use the Learnit URLs for LinkedIn and YouTube, and they're in your Word document if you need to use them for this lesson. So I've configured all 4 of these buttons. Another way that you can move a button is by dragging it. So if I select the YouTube icon, when I look at the toolbar above, it has the YouTube icon, and next to that, a double vertical ellipsis. When you hover over that ellipsis, it says drag. So if I click and hold, I can start dragging that icon to a different position. I'm comfortable with the position it was in. You also have the ability to change your item's justification. So everything is justified left. You have center. You can control the space between your items as well from that. I'm just going to deselect that. I don't like them spaced that far apart. And you also have alignment options and sizing options. And I'm comfortable with the normal size. I've gone ahead and updated my page. And now I want to look at some of the block settings. So I'm going to select my social icons block. And remember when we used to be able to access settings from a gear icon? Well, now that's changed because of our theme and some plugins that we added. So I'm going to click on this new icon to the right of update to get to settings. So it opens up that panel on the right. I'm going to make sure my block is selected. So you'll notice here it's on the block tab and it has the social icons block, right? Here's the gear for settings, and then you have styles on the right. So there's our layout and our orientation. I don't want it to wrap to multiple lines. I only have 4 icons. I'd like it to open the links in a new tab. And you can turn on show labels to see what that looks like. That might be helpful for me since I refer to LinkedIn as Instagram. And then you have your permissions and advanced things that you don't need to worry about right now. Now we can go to the Styles tab. And we have a default style being used. You can say logos only on your style. I'm going to put it back on default, which has filled. And your other choice is pill shape. So it seemed like it made them a little bit wider, and that's fine. You have choices for icon color, right? It's using the default for each icon. Now, something else cool you can do, and before we do this, let's select our embed block for our Twitter feed and scroll to the bottom of it, and you'll see underneath it has the opportunity to add a caption. So I've just typed, "Please follow us," as my caption for the Twitter feed. And now what we're going to do is, with that feed, that Twitter feed still selected, I want to make sure that embed block is selected. We're going to go up to its menu bar and choose the options ellipsis. So the scenario here is that you may want to, in the future, add your tweets live feed and or your social media icons to other pages on your site. And instead of having to recreate the wheel, you can save these as reusable blocks. So on that options menu, you're going to select Create Reusable Block. I'm going to name it Twitter Feed. And save it. And then I'm going to scroll down after my page refreshes a little bit. And I'm going to select my social icons block and do the same thing. And I'm going to name this one Social Icons and Mail. And go ahead and update your page. So now when I look at the toolbar above my social icons, you'll notice that it's showing me the icon for that it's a reusable block and what I named the block. And you can move those blocks around on the page. If I wanted to move it up, have it go above the Twitter feed, I could from there. And once you create a reusable block, when you go back to the options, you'll see that you can manage your reusable blocks, or you can convert it back to a regular block. I'm going to go to Manage Reusable Blocks. And it takes you to this screen where you'll see all of the reusable blocks that you've created in WordPress. And so you can go in like the social icons and mail block. I'm going to go ahead and edit that. And you see it takes me to a page with just that on it, right? So on this page, I can change the title. I'm going to change it to, instead of cutting and pasting, I'll just retype. mail and social media icons. And then I'm going to update it. So my reusable block has been updated. It's taking me back to post here. It said go to post, but it's taking me back to my reusable blocks. So I can see that the name is changed there. I'm going to have you change the name on your Twitter feed reusable block to live Twitter feed on your own. And if you're never going to use a reusable block again, you would come here and delete it. We're going to keep both of these. Now, let's go back to Pages. So now what I'm going to have you do is go back and view your About Me page and test all of your social media icons in the social icon block to make sure they're going to where they need to be and that they're opening in a different tab. So now that you've tested your About Me social media icons, let's go to edit our articles page. I'm just going to show you how to access a reusable block if you want to use a reusable block again. And so you would simply do the plus sign to add a block. And you should see your reusable blocks. They're in purple within all of the blocks that are available. So I have my mail and social media icons and my live Twitter feed. I'm going to go ahead and select the live Twitter feed and let my page update or refresh. And then I'm going to go to the bottom and I'm going to do the plus sign again to add another block, and I'll choose my mail and social media icons. So whatever settings you have on these, like open a new window, will work because that's part of the reusable block. And I'm going to go ahead and update that page. And so when I do this, it lets me know what's been changed, right? The articles page has been modified, reusable blocks, showing just the live Twitter feed one. I'm going to go ahead and save. And it lets me know both my page and my site have been updated. Before we move on, I just want to make a note here. If you don't configure any of your social media icons, they just won't show up on the page. So if you forget to put in your Facebook URL, that icon just will not be on the page. I'm going to go back to my pages now. I'd like us to go down under Appearance. Let's go down to Widgets. Now that we have that social icons menu, kind of doesn't make sense to have those social icons, well, the two that we have there in that main sidebar as widgets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that block that includes Facebook and Twitter. And we did this in the last module. And I'm going to do the options ellipses and remove social icons. And we're going to replace it with something else. So I'm going to do the plus sign to add another block. And I'm going to expand it, so browse all. And I'm going to scroll down to widgets. And I think that maybe we can have the latest post over there. And then I'm also going to, let's see, main sidebar, right. It appears on the post and the pages. That's cool. And let's see what else we can add over there. I'm going to click right underneath those recent posts and hover underneath them, and you'll see another plus sign to add another block. So I have latest posts. I'm going to go back to browse all and down to widgets again. And I'm going to choose latest comments. And I am going to see, I'm going to go ahead and update that. Can always come back and change it. And I just want to go and take a look at this and see what it's going to look like. And I kind of like how that looks over there. So I have my recent post and then comments showing over on that right sidebar now, instead of the social icons that we had there, because we have them at the bottom of all of our pages, and we have our live Twitter feed there as well. So in the previous module, we had used the widgets to display social media icons. You also learned how to add the social icon block to display social media icons. And now we're going to switch to a theme that includes a social menu. So I'm back on my themes page, and I'm going to just scroll down until I see add new theme. And the name of the theme is Explore. I just type that in. And I'm going to hover over that theme. Now, of course, you're not obligated to keep this theme. You can always switch back to your other theme, but this one has a social menu. So I'm going to go ahead and install it and activate. So with my new theme activated, the first thing I'm going to do right on the top of the themes page is I'm going to click that visit site link so I can see what it looks like on my site. So it has a left sidebar, and we don't have any widgets over there. We'll be customizing that. Still has my featured image here. All right. What we added over here is still there. When we changed our widgets before, it looks like this one likes the widgets on the left as opposed to the right. We can fix that. We still have our live feed. We still have our social icons block. Nothing has changed there. If I come over here and I go to like a recent article, what grows in my garden. So it shows more stuff up here, and I'm viewing it right now, but it's showing my post where I had my gallery of photos. And it shows the one comment I have on that post. So what I'm going to do is up top, I'm going to click on Customize. The best way to see where your menu locations are in a theme is by expanding menus on the Customize panel, and then expanding View All Locations. So you can see that this theme has 3 locations. There's a social menu, a primary menu, and a footer menu. So your primary menu is already set, right? And that's showing up in the upper right-hand corner. And then your social menu, if you do the drop down where it says select, it will direct you to either the primary or the secondary menu. We don't want either of those. Underneath that, we're going to click Create New Menu. And so we're going to give it a name, and it's going to be called Social Media. And we want it to appear for the social menu. So we're good there. We're going to click Next. And now we're going to click Add Items. And so you'll notice the custom links area is expanded. If not, expand it. You could collapse pages, posts, anything else that might be expanded. And I'm going to use the Facebook URL here. So I'm going to just type it in, or you can copy and paste it if you're using the one in the useful links document, or type in your own. And then the link text, I'm going to just type Facebook. And then right underneath that, add to the menu. We're going to add another link. We'll add the link here for YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and get that one in there. And give it the text YouTube. So I'm not going to add any more right now. I'm going to just add these two just so you can see what this will look like when we're done. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the back arrow. So I have my social media is currently set to the social menu. Primary is currently set to primary. Let's go to secondary menu, and you can see it there, right? That's where we have all of our categories. I'm going to do the back arrow, go down to view all locations, and for the footer menu, select the secondary menu. And so we can look at this now. So your primary menu is right here in the upper right hand corner, and adjacent to it is your social menu, and you'll see the Facebook icon and the YouTube icon up there, the two that we added. If I scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, in the footer area, I will see my secondary menu, which are all the categories. Right? And it's also the hierarchy. So what I want to do is I want to edit that secondary footer menu. And I don't want it to be hierarchical. I just want it to be vegetables, herbs, and fruit and uncategorized. I'm going to get rid of bell peppers by removing it, clicking on it and removing it. For herbs, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to keep that, vegetables, herbs. So I don't have to click on that one. I want to get rid of basil, so I'm going to just click on the ones and remove them. Cilantro, I'm going to remove. Mint, oregano, rosemary, and thyme are getting removed, as are cherry tomatoes and tomatoes. So I just want my parent categories. And then I'm going to get rid of strawberries. And then I'm going to click reorder, and I can outdent herbs because I moved it and kind of messed it up. So it should be just a straight list: vegetable, herbs, fruit, and uncategorized. That's all I want on that footer menu. And you can see the change already down at the bottom of your page. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on, let's see, do the back arrow first. Click on primary. And at the bottom, make sure it has automatically add new top level pages to this menu. That's the only one we would want that on. And then we're going to publish. And now you have experience with a social menu. And so, again, not every theme has one. You've already seen that. The name of this theme is Explore, and it happens to have that type of menu included in the theme. So if you look at my screen right now, I have my latest post both on the left and the right sidebar. So in the customization screen, if you go under widgets, if you go to left sidebar, you'll click the plus sign and you'll scroll down until you get to the widgets area and you'll see latest posts. That's what I added there. So after you do that, after you add latest post on your left sidebar, do the back arrow. And then we're going to go into where it says header sidebar 1. And we're going to add a heading for that left sidebar. So I'm going to do the plus sign, either the one at the top or the one in the middle, doesn't matter. And I'm going to choose heading under text. And where it says heading, I'm going to type latest post. And so the other thing I can do here now is if I look over it, right, I can change the heading level if I want it to be smaller or something like that, or larger. You have that, what I call the squiggly arrow that says move to widget area. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to choose left sidebar. So now it's showing, our header is showing on our left sidebar, but it's in the wrong order. So I'm going to click on the heading in the left sidebar. Notice it took us back to left sidebar here. And I'm going to use the up arrow to move it up so that it is above the latest post. And you can see the result of that on my page. I'm going to do the back arrow and go to expand right sidebar. And I'm going to select my 2 posts here, right? What grows in my garden and about my garden. I'm going to go to its options ellipsis, go all the way to the bottom and remove latest post. I don't need it on both sidebars. So on the right sidebar, we just have recent comments or latest comments. I'm going to do the back arrow on the customizer, and I'm going to go to header sidebar 1. Somehow I was in 2 for recent post. And I'm going to do the plus sign and add a heading. And the heading is going to be latest comments. And then I'm going to do its squiggly arrow, and I'm going to move it to the right sidebar. And then I just have to move it up. So there we have it. Latest posts, latest comments. There's actually like a block here that doesn't need to be here. Some kind of a group. Okay. Yeah, so now it's up where it needs to be. So there might be other things you want to add to the sidebars. Let me go back to the left sidebar. And let me take a look at something. I think I want to add another widget here. Yeah, I'm going to add archives there on the left as well. So it end up having a bunch of months in there for post. And I'm going to do the back arrow. Let me go to header sidebar 1. Hang on 1 second. Header sidebar 2. Header sidebar 2. Let's change that recent post if you have that in there. Just change that to archives. And then use its squiggly arrow to move it to your left sidebar. And you're going to move it up so it's above the archives. So on the left side, we have latest posts and archives. And on the right side, we have latest comments. And we can go ahead and publish. And then we can close our customizer. And I'm just able to look through. So all the menus. So now you have so many choices because we have the Twitter feed live on 2 of our pages, as well as the reusable block of social media icons. We have the social media icons on the social menu in this theme as well. I don't like redundancy. I don't think it needs to be in multiple places. But I wanted you to get the idea of how you can have integration with social media on your site. And again, later on in this module, we'll learn about auto sharing. So our second lesson, we're going to focus on podcasting, specifically the Anchor podcast method, which is part of Spotify. So it has a convert to text feature that can be used on any post that converts it into text and into a podcast via Anchor. This is at no cost to you. It uses technology to convert your written words to spoken audio. So you would have to have a new Anchor account to link your WordPress account in Anchor and start creating podcasts from your existing post. Now, as soon as you are completed with the process of linking your WordPress.com account to Anchor, it will automatically grab your existing posts and list them in Anchor. You would have to go back and manually on them do the text-to-speech feature so that then they become podcasts. And you'll learn how to do that in this lesson. So like I mentioned, you're going to need a new Anchor account. Existing Anchor accounts cannot be linked manually at this time. And you can also easily convert new posts that you're publishing on your site using the text-to-speech technology. This is pretty cool. In your useful links Word document, I'm going to go ahead and access the link that says Spotify for podcasters. And that's how we're going to set up an Anchor account that we can connect to our WordPress account from this page. And so if you have an existing Anchor account, you would have to create a new one in order to link it to WordPress. And it tells you that on this screen. So at the bottom, I'm going to click on Get Started. And the email that you use when you're creating this account should be the same as your WordPress email that you use. So go ahead and fill out your information here. After your information is filled out, you're going to have to let it know that you're not a robot at the bottom. And then go ahead and click Sign Up. And you'll end up on this page. Before you can do anything, you need to verify your email address. So go to your email, make sure you check your junk email as well, and you should find the email that will let you verify this account. So I verified my email and I get this confirmation, and I still have another screen open here for Spotify for podcasters. So this is the one where I originally verified my email from, right? And now what I'm going to do on this page is I'm going to connect my blog. Now, you may have to log into your WordPress site. It just depends. But in my case, it's asking me if it can connect to my WordPress.com site. And so I'm going to go ahead and click Approve. And now it's prompting me to log in. It lets me know that it's connecting my blog to Anchor. And it successfully was able to do that. And so this is the one where we can convert posts to audios for a podcast. And I'm going to simply click on Got It. And here it's showing my 2 posts that are in here as episodes, right? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close my other Spotify for podcasters page where I verified the email. I don't need that. I'm going to leave this page open and I'm going to go back to my WordPress. From my post page, I'm going to go to the top and choose Add New. And if your settings panel is not open on the right, go ahead and use your settings button to open it. And the title I'm going to use for this post is going to be, I just learned how to grow onions. And then I'm going to click right where it says type. And I don't have to choose the paragraph block. I can just type. So I am going to type, I just learned how to grow onions from onions, and it is so fascinating. And I really mean what I'm typing here. So I ultimately ended up with just the heading and then 2 very short paragraphs, which you can feel free to copy for this post. And then over on the settings panel on the right, I am going to add this to my vegetables category. And what's cool is that from there I can add a new category, because under vegetables I just have my bell peppers, cherry tomatoes, and tomatoes. And now I would like to have onions under there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new category. And its name is going to be onions. And its parent category is going to be vegetables. And then I'm going to click on add new category. So, and it already selected onions for this post as well, since we just added it. It figured you want to add a category while you're in this post because you want to use it in this post. And so now I've scrolled down to where it says featured image, and I'm going to click on set featured image. And it's an image that I don't have in the files from the video description, which you put in your media library. So we're going to go to Openverse, which has plenty of free images that you can use without violating copyrights. So when I get in there, in the search box, I'm going to type onion and press enter. And so several pictures of onions come up. I'd actually like to select this one where you can see some of the fuzzy roots at the bottom. So I'm going to select that one. And then I'm going to click the select button. And so it inserted the image. It will show on the post as the featured image, which is up top. So just a short post with a featured image in it. And what we're going to do now is go to the upper right and choose publish. So it's going to ask you, are you ready to publish? You see your visibility there. I'm going to publish it immediately. Again, publishing our pages when we launch our site, everyone who visits the site will be able to see them, but we haven't launched this site yet. It gives me a suggestion to add tags. I haven't set up any tags. I've only used categories. Share the post, social previews, all of this stuff. And so this activates subscriptions. I believe it's from the members plugin. Down at the bottom, there's your Yoast SEO stuff. And all the way at the bottom, it says always show pre-published checks. If you don't want it to show them, then you can uncheck it and you won't get this verification. I'm going to go ahead and publish again. So now that I've published, what will normally show on your settings pane is a convert to audio button. If it's not there, that's fine because we can still do this. I'm going to go ahead and close that settings panel. And I am going to just get out of my post, go back to my post page. And so now I've come over to my anchor screen and I'm on the episodes tab at the top. And you'll see over on this screen, over to the right, it will say import one new blog post. So when we first set up our Anchor account, it went and grabbed our existing post. I'm going to go ahead and click on import one new blog post. And now we can see my I just learned how to grow onions. And I'm going to click on create episode. And so on my screen, the first thing that popped up is it wants to use my microphone. And I'm going to block that. And you notice I get all of this red text, unable to get access to your microphone. Well, that's because there were two choices, right? I want it to automatically convert to audio, or I can record it myself from here using my microphone. And so on the screen, create episode, it gives you the paragraphs that you put in that new blog post, right? So if you wanted to record it yourself, you have the script right in front of you on the screen. What I'm going to do is go to the bottom and automatically convert to audio. And then you have two voices to choose from. Remy is, I believe, the female voice, and Cassidy is the male voice. I can preview both of these, so I'll click on preview.
This is an audio preview of what your blog post could sound like. Anchor is the easiest way to create a podcast. Built-in upload.
And then I'll click on Cassidy.
What your blog post could sound like. Anchor is the easiest way to create a podcast.
I'm going to go ahead and select Remy because it's the female voice and I'm a female. And I'm going to continue. So it's going to take a few minutes to convert text to audio. And when it's done, it gives me the ability to preview what it converted from text to speech.
I just learned how to grow onions from onions, and it is so fascinating.
And then I can go down and save and continue. And it takes you to the editing episode screen where you can access all of these options on the left. Over here, it shows the episode and its length, right? And I'm going to just go ahead to save episode. So now I'm looking at some episode options. I'm going to go ahead and do the purple next button there. So it's showing my podcast information here, and it's taking information from my WordPress site. And I'm going to assign this a category. I'm going to scroll down here. There's a category called Home and Garden. That's going to be my category. And for the language, I'm going to choose English and continue. It's taking me through all these steps. I can search for a photo here. And so we used Openverse on the post page, which gives us access to completely free images. And this is powered by Unsplash, which does the same thing. So I've already typed in onion as my search term. And I'm just going to select the to onion for my podcast's cover art here and choose continue. And on the add text screen, it has the name of my blog. It's in white. I'm going to change the color to black because I think it shows better over that picture. And then I'm going to just choose update cover art at the bottom. And on this screen, it will allow me to publish my podcast on Spotify. And in the next step, you would be able to distribute it to more platforms if you wanted to. It lets me know it'll be live shortly. I'm going to just click continue. If you did have the convert to text button on your post settings, it would have brought you right here to this episodes page, and you would have seen the one episode ready for uploading, just like we did when we came over here. And so now that we have our episode, we are going to click on it. And down here, you see a couple of icons, right? Facebook, Twitter. You see copy link, and then you see copy embed. We're going to click on copy embed. And it lets you know that it's copied. And now I'm going to go back to my WordPress. And I'm on my Pages screen, and up top, I'm going to select Add New. So the title for this page is going to be Blog Podcast. And so just to be clear, there are podcast player plugins. There's a built-in podcast player. There's also a built-in Spotify block. They're not going to work for this. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to the plus sign and we're going to search for the custom HTML block and select it. And then you're going to Control V and paste in that embed code. And so what this is going to do is it's going to convert it into a podcast player. On that HTML toolbar, click on Preview, and you'll see that it has your post and it's able to be played. Now let's go ahead and publish that page. And over on the right, I can click on View Page. So now I'm on my blog podcast page. It has this audio for that one post. And also it added blog podcast to my primary menu because that menu is set to add any top level pages to it automatically. So I'm back on my podcaster's site, and I'm going to go back up to episodes on the top. And so my other two posts, right, we did a new post and we came in here and we created an episode out of it. When we first set up this account, it grabbed our existing posts and brought them in, but it didn't make them into episodes. So I'm going to click on my create episode for what grows in my garden. And again, because I don't want to record it myself, I'm going to scroll to the bottom and automatically convert to audio. And I am going to use Remy's voice, the female voice, and continue. And this one was slightly longer, so it took a little while. And now this one is 1 minute and 1 second long. I can listen to a preview.
Vegetables. Red.
And I'm going to choose Save and Continue. And then I'm just going to save changes on the right. So it gives me the episode options. And I am just going to publish now like we did before. And I'm going to close that pop-up. I'm going to go back to episodes. And so for the last one about my garden, or your last post, go ahead and create an episode out of that and have it convert text to speech. And I'm going to go ahead and save and continue it. And when I go back to my episodes, after I'm done with the process, all 3 of those posts have been converted to audio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the What Grows in My Garden episode, click on it, and I'm going to copy its embed code. And go back to your WordPress pages, and I'm going to edit the blog podcast page. I'm going to do the plus sign under that custom HTML block. And I'm going to add a custom HTML block. And I'm going to paste that embed code into it for what grows in my garden. I'm going to click on Preview on its toolbar. And so you can see that it looks like that there. The upper one I'm going to preview as well. And now I'm going to switch back over to my Anchor podcasting site. And you're going to grab the embed code for the About My Garden post and come back to this page. And once I have that embed code copied, I'm going to do the plus sign, and you're going to do the same thing that we've done for these other two here on your own. And now I'm going to go ahead and update this page. And I can catch the link to view the page in the bottom left. So now I have 3 of my posts on my blog podcast. And that's because we created that Anchor account and we have the ability to go in and copy that embed code and use the custom HTML block. Again, I tested this. I used the built-in podcast block. I used the Spotify block. And I even downloaded a podcast plugin and used that in a block, and it didn't work. The only way I could get it to work is by using the embed code in a custom HTML block. So I'm showing you a Word document that's in the files for the video description. It's called Why I Started Gardening. And it's slightly longer than the other post that I have up there. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you on your own create another post using this content, and you can copy and paste it. You're going to name the post Why I Started Gardening, the name of the document. And then you're going to go to your Spotify for Podcasters account, your Anchor account, and have it convert text to speech. And then you're going to grab its embed code and add it to the podcast page. So go ahead and get started on that. And when you are done, your blog podcast page should look like this. So let's talk about HTTPS and SSL. We'll start with some descriptions here. HTTP equals Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's the application protocol through which all data communication on the web happens. HTTP helps users retrieve web pages. And then when you add the S to it, it is a security-enhanced version of HTTP. And then you have SSL. That is Secure Socket Layer. It uses both asymmetric and symmetric encryption to protect the confidentiality and integrity of data in transit on the web. TLS is Transport Security Layer, and that is a successor to SSL. So, the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. HTTPS is HTTP with encryption and verification. The only difference really between the two protocols is that HTTPS uses TLS, the successor to SSL, to encrypt normal HTTP requests and responses, and to digitally sign those requests and responses. As a result, it is more secure than HTTP. So I have this on a secondary slide for you, and a website must have an SSL TLS certificate for their web server domain name to use SSL/TLS encryption. So my site, because of my host, when I created my site, it already switched to HTTPS because my SSL certificate is already set up on the server that is administered by my host, which is Bluehost. And since version 5.7 WordPress, if an SSL certificate is already set up on your server, it will automatically switch it to HTTPS. Now, I will show you when we go back over to WordPress in just a second. There's another place where you can kind of add an S to HTTP, but I wouldn't recommend doing it. I would go through my host if your site URL doesn't already start with HTTPS, but I'll show it to you now. So you could just look up at your URL and see if it starts with HTTPS. Another thing that you can do in WordPress is on your left navigation, you can go to Tools, Site Health. And if you don't have HTTPS for your site, in Site Health, you will have a critical warning there. So you would have a critical warning here letting you know that your site is not configured for HTTPS. Now, I mentioned that you could change it in one location within WordPress, but I don't recommend you doing that. I would really get in touch with my provider if my site is not into HTTPS. But I will show this to you anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Settings and then go into General Settings. So again, you can see here that both my WordPress address URL and my site address URL both begin with the HTTPS. What I've been told is that if yours says HTTP there, you can change it by just adding the S to both of them. Again, I don't really recommend that. It's always been done for me by my hosting provider. So one of the things that I said I would do here at the end of this module is we're going to go back to the integrating social media topic so that you can learn to use the auto sharing feature. And so the thing is that your site has to be launched in order to use this feature. So one of the things I do before I launch my site, well, there's a few things we're going to do here. I want to go back to Tools on the left side and go back to Site Health. So on mine, I have 3 recommended improvements, right? 2 of them are security based and 1 of them is a performance based one. So if I do the down arrow on any of them, it gives me information about all of those recommendations. So for the persistent object cache that I have, it's basically directing me to my hosting provider, and they can tell me if a persistent object cache can be enabled on my site. It says that my host appears to support it, and I can get in touch with my host directly for that, or I can read more information about it here. I'm going to leave that one alone for now. I will get in touch with my host about it at some point, so I'm going to collapse it. And then it's telling me that I should remove inactive plugins and inactive themes. You can always install and activate them again if you need to use them again. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Appearance and we're going to go to Themes. And right now, the only theme that we're using is that Explore theme. And we chose that one because it had a social menu, right? I'm going to just keep that theme on. And for every other theme that's sitting there, I am going to click on the theme details. And then in the lower right corner, I'm going to delete the theme. Again, these are all themes that I can go back and get. So delete all of your themes except your active theme. And so there, I'm done with that process. I only have my active theme left. And then also on the left, I'm going to make my way to Installed Plugins. and see if there's any in there that I'm not using. So the Google Analytics for WordPress by Monster Insights, I'm going to go ahead and delete that plugin. Anything that has deactivate is active, so I'm just looking for any that say activate. Sinatra Core goes with the theme that I deleted, so that's a plugin. I'm going to delete that plugin. And I'm just looking, and that's it. So now I'm going to go back to Tools, Site Health. So now it's telling me that I should have a default theme available. I'm going to expand that, right? So it's telling me that your site has one installed theme and it is up to date. Your site does not have any default theme. Default themes are used by WordPress automatically if anything is wrong with your chosen theme. So right from there, I can use the Manage Your Themes link. And I'm back in Themes. And since we got rid of all the inactive themes, we don't have that plus sign to add a new theme. But if you look up at the top, you can click on WordPress.org themes, and it takes you to the Add Themes page. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to search for a theme called 2021. Let's see what comes up. And I'm going to install that one. I'm not going to activate it. It'll be like my backup theme. That was my original theme when we started this course. So I'm going to just leave that hanging out there. I'm going to go back to Tools, Site Health, and see if it's yelling at me about anything else. Okay, so I have a scheduled event is late. I'm going to just see what it is. So I'm good with the two that are there right now. I'm good with my site health is good as it shows at the top. So now we're ready to launch our site so that we can use this auto sharing feature. So I'm going to just go up to the tab where it says Site Status Coming Soon. When I hover over Coming Soon, it says Launch Your Site. I'm going to click that. So right now, anybody that goes to my URL will see a Coming Soon page. So now I'm on my hosting providers page, right? And again, I use Bluehost. So it's telling you what to do. You know, here's some things that they recommend before launching your site. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just go all the way to the bottom of that list, and I'm going to choose Launch with Confidence. So then it tells me your site has a coming soon message. It's telling you to check out our pre-publishing checklist and then launch with confidence. I'm going to go ahead and click Launch Your Site. As soon as I launch it, it gives me a button that will let me restore coming soon. And again, this is attached. Look where I am here. I'm on my hosting provider's homepage at this point. When I refresh this page, the tab updates to Site Status Live. So now it's a live site. Okay, so now we can use this auto sharing feature. So I just want to show you something. This would be the quote unquote normal way of using the auto sharing feature. And on the left, I'm going to go and hover over Tools. And what I want you to notice there is that you do not have a marketing section on Tools. And that would be the normal way. Because we are using Jetpack on this site, On the left side, I'm going to go over and hover over Jetpack and choose Settings. And then at the top, I'm going to go to the Sharing tab. So your Jetpack social connections is automatically going to share your posts to social networks. And we have to connect our social networks. And then it has sharing buttons if you want to add sharing buttons. I chose to add like buttons for my posts and pages, right? And then here, you're going to click on that link that says connect your social media accounts. So it opens my site on a new tab. And if you look on the left and hover over tools, you'll see that I have different choices here. This is because it's doing it from Jetpack. So that's where I'll see marketing under tools. And then up at the top, you're going to go to connections. And here you have the choice to share on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Tumblr. I am going to connect to my Twitter account. So on the right, I'm going to click connect. So because we have Jetpack, it is taking over this whole process, right? It's using what used to be called publicize. It's the same thing that you would be doing if we didn't have Jetpack on. Your site still had to be published in order for us to do this or launched. So I'm going to just put in my information for Twitter here, and then I'm going to click on authorize app. So now you can see that my Twitter account was successfully connected, and now it has a disconnect instead of a connect button. So it will share any posts that I make to my Twitter feed automatically. So what I'm going to have you do on your own is go ahead and create a new post and then check your Twitter or whatever social network you connect it to see if that post is showing there. One thing I will point out here, so I just have a post screen up, and on the right side now, there are Twitter settings. I can share a link to this post to Twitter. I can share the content of this post as a Twitter thread. So it's a single tweet or a thread. So I'm going to leave it on single tweet. And I'm going to go ahead and publish. So in my Twitter account, I can see, here's my post, testing sharing. Gardening is my peace blog. And this is all I put in there, testing to see if this post shows on my Twitter feed. By the way, you'll see that I joined Twitter, this account in like last month. This is just a training account for me, so I can show you things like this. It's not my real Twitter account. So anyway, you can see that that sharing is working. And by the way, once you automatically share your post to social networks, if you should delete that post in WordPress, it won't automatically delete it from your social networks. You would have to do it manually. So I went ahead and did that with that test sharing message. I deleted the post, and then I went to my Twitter account and deleted the tweet. In Module 4, we focused on social media integration, podcasting, and HTTPS. So we got started with integrating social media on your site. We used a social media feed on your site. So we actually had added our live Twitter feed using the embed block on a page. And then we learned how to use a social icons block where we added email, I believe Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And you learned how to configure those social icons. And you know that if you don't configure any of them, they will not show up on the page. And then we tested the icons. We used some settings to make sure that on the page, when a visitor selects an icon, it opens the links in a new tab. And we actually made that social icons block and our social media feed embed block into reusable blocks and learned how to access them on a different page. We then went into creating a social menu. So we switched themes and found a theme that included a social menu, and we configured it, and the theme that we used was Explore. So you learned how to configure all of that. So you have a lot of choices now on how to integrate social media on your site. Then we moved into podcasting, and you learned how to use Anchor via Spotify. So we set up an account in Anchor, and after that, we did a new post, and after we published it, we went back to the Anchor site and we were able to upload it and convert it to text. And then we went back ultimately, and the 2 existing posts that we had when we set up our Anchor account, pulled those over. We ultimately converted those into podcasts as well. You learned how to grab the embed code from each podcast, and we started a new page, and we used the custom HTML block to paste the code in and then preview it, and you saw the podcast player. So we ended up adding 3 of our posts to the blog podcast page. After that, we reviewed information about HTTPS and SSL. We went into our site, and, my host already has my site switched to HTTPS. Although you could go to Settings General in WordPress Admin and change the site address URLs to HTTPS by adding the S if necessary. I recommended that you don't do it that way, that you get in touch with your hosting provider and see if they can do it for you. And also you learned that Tools Site Health will give you a critical issue if your website doesn't use HTTPS. After we reviewed all of that, we launched our site so that we could use the auto sharing feature, which we access via Jetpack. So we went up to Jetpack settings and sharing, and we set up a connection. I connected to my Twitter account, and I also added like buttons. So every time I create a post, it will automatically share it on my Twitter feed. And you saw that. And you also learned that if you then delete that post, it does not delete it from your feed. You would have to go to your Twitter and delete it, which I did. In Module 5, we're going to create a non-blog website. We're going to start by going over some website creation basics, and then we'll move on to learning about how to create static websites and the difference between static and dynamic websites. Lesson 3 will see us using corporate and business websites, and in the final lesson in this module, we'll be using one-page websites. Toward the end of our last module, we made our site live so that we could use the auto share feature via Jetpack. And now we're going to be making more changes to our site. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a plugin that will display a coming soon page. And so no one will be able to access our site like it's under construction. And so I'm on the plugins page, and I'm going to add new. And I'm going to search for Nifty coming soon. Nifty coming soon. So here's the Nifty coming soon plugin. Notice it has over 20,000 active installations. It's got 5-star ratings. It was last updated about 2 months ago, and it is compatible with my version of WordPress. I'm going to go ahead and install now, and then I'm going to activate it. So once it's activated, you'll see up at the top of my window here, I have a red tab saying Nifty coming soon is enabled. It automatically enables it. Let's take a look at some of its settings. So it resides on the left sidebar. Underneath security, you'll see Nifty options. And so here you can look at the plugin documentation. It has premium versions, so on and so forth. You're going to click on Customize coming soon. And it opens a customizer for Nifty options. So we can go through some of these settings just to show you. One of the things I don't like is like the animation on the text. I find that distracting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at general settings, and you can see that it's enabled. That's why it came up automatically. It has a page title for SEO. It took the name of my blog and it added is coming soon. The page description, I'm fine with it. That's also for SEO. It gives you information how to keep it between 50 and 300 characters. We are doing some work on our site. Please be patient. Thank you. There are other sections under general settings as well for some code. I'm going to do the back arrow here, and you can expand layout. So it's showing a logo there. There's the Nifty coming soon logo. It's showing animated text, and I don't want the text animated, right? So I can use the eyeball to hide that feature. The countdown I'm good with, and you can customize that as well as the slider. So if we do the back arrow to get back to our options, you can change the font and everything, background. Then there's the logo, animated text. I'm going to click on logo, and I'll just use their logo for right now. I don't need to do too much changing to this. The animated text I'm going to go through. I'm going to turn off the animation there, and then I can go back and show it, and it just won't be animated. So I'm going to do the back arrow. The countdown, like I said, I can set it for a target date kind of thing. I'm good with the countdown. I'm going to go back. You have a slider option. So there are slider blocks here. There's contact. That's the one of them there. Subscription, social. I'm going to hide subscription and social using the eyeball. And I'm going to go back again. Don't need to do anything else, I think, except go back to layout. And I can click the eyeball to get the text back on there. It's just not animated anymore. And then I'm going to publish. So the thing is that it is already enabled. Now, in my case, if I go to visit my site here, I'm going to just close out of there. If I go and visit my site, it doesn't appear to be enabled here. But if I go, even though it's saying Nifty coming soon is enabled. And by the way, if I click on that, it takes me back to that customization screen. So when I log in on my other computer, if I go to my site, that's when I will see the Nifty. So if you have another computer, go to your site and you should be able to see the coming soon screen. I was actually able to just do a new private window on my browser. And so when I type in the URL for my site, this is what it's going to say. And I'm happy with this right now. It still looks like it's animating the text, but I'm not going to worry about that. I can come back, put in, a logo so it just doesn't say Nifty Coming Soon plugin there. But I'm good with this for right now. If you want to modify yours some more, go ahead and do so. And we're going to get into Module 5. So I am going to have us do 2 other things just to protect our current site. And some might call it overkill. But the first thing I'm going to do is export all of the content on my site as it is right now. And so on the left nav, you're going to go down to Tools, and you're going to choose Export. It creates an XML file for you to save to your computer, right? It will contain your posts, pages, comments, custom fields, categories, tags if you have any. And once you've saved the download file, you can then use the import function to import the content back into this site or even into another WordPress installation. So I'm going to just export all content instead of, and it lets you know it contains all of those things, or you can export one thing at a time. So I am going to go ahead. Now, notice here when you do all, it doesn't export your media. So I'm going to export all content first by just downloading that export file, and it's in my downloads. And then I'm going to select the media option button, and I'm not going to select any dates. I don't think it's required for me to select a date. We'll see. And I'm going to try to click on download export file. So I have 2 of them. One is my media, one is everything else. And they're in my download folder. So now I want to go ahead and create a backup of this site. And so I'm going to just go back to Pages because then I can get out of here. And we used Updraft Plus earlier to create a backup. So I'm going to go up to my top toolbar, hover over Updraft Plus, and choose Backup Restore. And then I'm going to just click my Backup Now button. And I'm going to leave the default settings and Backup Now. And so you can see that the backup succeeded and is now complete. So now we're ready to move on. Our first lesson, the basics, is just for your future reference. All of these things have been done on our current site already, some of them during this course. So in our beginner course, we were able to set up our domain name and hosting provider and install WordPress, right? We also chose a theme. The focus on the beginner course was a blog site. So we chose our theme for our blog. We added posts and pages to the website. We customized it, installed plugins. We optimized the site to increase page speed, and we enhanced security during this course. So again, just for your future reference, so if you have it. Another thing that you could add to this slide is visiting other WordPress site examples to get some inspiration for what you want to do. Lesson 2 is about static websites. And I added dynamic websites to this. So I'm going to be giving you the pros and cons of both. So let's go over this. Static website is made up of a collection of static pages or pages that don't change, or at least not very often, created by HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. In its simplest form, each web page is represented as an HTML file visitors access while browsing a website. Static websites appear the same for every visitor who accesses them, and the only way to change this is to modify the source files. They can have interactive elements like web forms, although those elements cannot be tailored per individual user. So when the internet first started, most websites were static. Now, dynamic websites generate content on the fly, loading it from a database. The dynamic content on pages can be tailored to the visitor's needs based on visitor behavior. This means a dynamic site can present different information to different visitors. They typically have a content management system, CMS, or a web framework at its core, and they work best for websites that require frequent content updates. So these days, most websites belong to another category known as hybrid websites. Hybrid websites have a set of static web pages, the content that doesn't change very often, as well as a set of dynamic web pages. For example, you can blend some static and dynamic functionality on your company's website with a set of static pages, for example, about us or our mission, as well as dynamic ones, pages where content changes frequently, such as a blog. And the site that we've been working on, the blog site, is a hybrid site. It has static pages. I think about my garden page is pretty static. It's not going to change. And then we have our other pages like our podcast player page where the content changes frequently, as well as our blog pages. So here's the pros and cons of static websites. 3 of each. Ease of creation. So it doesn't require any logic for content loading from a database. Good performance. It requires minimal back-end processing. And a better level of security, since they require much fewer tech building blocks to perform. They are less affected by security issues. Now the cons: time-consuming content management. If you want to modify content, you need to access source code. Poor scalability. If you need to add 100 new pages to your site, you need to create all 100 manually, and every page will be built as a separate entity. That does not sound like fun at all. And finally, static websites are unable to offer tailored experiences, allow limited or no personalization and customization for visitors. And then we have the pros and cons of dynamic websites. Pros: ease of content management. Changes can be done in one place and applied across all pages. Think about using the customizer, right? When we added widgets, they showed on all of our pages. Easy to update the visual design by using themes. And it provides a better visitor experience. It's possible to use user location and cookies to offer tailored experiences to visitors. Cons: it's a more complex web design process. You must invest time in creating business logic. Now, my provider is doing that all behind the scenes. That's where the database resides. Rules on how content will be organized in a database and accessed by visitors. Again, my hosting provider is taking care of that for me. Could lead to a higher cost of creation. It could require some technical expertise, maybe coding or how to use CMS, but WordPress makes it really easy for non-technical persons to create high-quality sites. And then there are performance and security problems, which we've already addressed in this course. Because there are more technical components, each component can affect the performance and be vulnerable to a security breach. So again, nowadays, most sites are hybrid, having some static pages and then other dynamic content. In the files in the video description, you'll see a folder called Business Website. And within that folder are 2 Word documents and another folder called Business Website Images. So these are the 2 Word documents. The goal behind this is so you don't have to do a lot of typing while we're creating our business website. And by the way, the type of site that I'm creating is a software consulting site because I actually have a software consulting business. And so these 2 documents will decrease your typing. So this document is called Pages and Post for Business Website. And it has our mission statement, stuff that we're going to use for pages. And I actually have placeholder text in here. So when I create a Who We Are page, at some point in the future, I would like it to have a subpage called Meet the Team and add the bios and pics for myself and my team. And so this other page is going to be entitled What We Consult On. And so it has a list of applications that we do consult on, that we want to put on that page. And so the other thing is you want to have open that Images for Business Website folder as well, because we're going to start by getting these images into our media library. Now, I don't want you to do that yet because we're going to grab a plugin so that we're able to create folders in our media library first. You'll notice in the default WordPress media library, you don't have any capability to create folders to organize your media. And so, it has a filter. By default, it's showing all media items. So you could, right now, I only have images, but if you had audio, video, things of that nature, you'd be able to filter by those, but you can't organize them in folders. So we're going to use a plugin that will give us the ability to create folders in our media library so that I can keep the gardening blog images separate from the business website that we're going to build images. I'm going to go ahead and go to plugins and add new. And the one you want to search for is called Real Media Library. You'll see that it has over 70,000 active installations. It has almost a 5-star rating, like 4.5-star rating. And it was last updated 3 weeks ago and is compatible with my version of WordPress. So it meets all of our criteria, again, for security reasons. I'm going to go ahead and choose Install Now. And after it's installed, I'm going to activate it. And it lets me know the plugin is activated. And I'm going to close that pop-up at the top and go back to my media library. So it's telling me I have this left panel now, and it's telling me that I have 17 images. Again, all of them are for my gardening blog at this point. And it automatically creates an unorganized category. So all of my files are unorganized at this point. It tells me I have no folders found because I haven't created any yet. So to the right of the folders panel, the word folders at the top, there is a plus sign where you can create a new folder. And it's already set for you to name it. And I'm going to name it Gardening Blog. So the ones that are in here, I can get organized first. And I'm going to press enter. It gives me a message. It created that folder. I am going to select that folder. And when I go into it, it lets me know that no media files were found. On the left, I'm going to go back to All Files. And I'm going to click the checkbox right underneath Bulk Actions to select all of those gardening images. And once it's selected, I'm going to click and hold on the first image and start dragging them to that gardening blog folder. It lets me know that it's moving 17 files. So now when I open that folder, that's what it's showing there, that gardening blog folder, and I have 0 media unorganized. So now I'm going to go back to unorganized and it'll be empty, right? So we're going to add another folder now for our business website images. So go ahead and do that and call it business website. So once we have our business website folder, on our left sidebar, we're going to go to add new under media. And when you get in here, you'll just see unorganized. Again, this is because of the plug-in. And so I'm going to click on unorganized, and then I'll see the folders that we've created. I'm going to click on the business website folder. And so now it says business website, and I can select the files or drop files here to upload. So we want to grab all of the files in the images for business website folder and get them in here. Once all the files are uploaded, I'm going to go back on the left to library. And notice on the left, it's currently showing 32. It's showing all files. And if I want to just get to my business website files, I can click on that folder. And that's what I'd like you to do. So one of the things I like to do upon uploading media to the library is I like to go ahead and edit the images and at least give it some alternative text so that if anybody is viewing the site using a screen reader, it will give the alternative text. It will read out the alternative text. And so you don't have to do this. You could do it later in the process when you use the image, but I tend to like to do it up front, and that way I don't forget later. And so in order to do that, you would just edit every image. And this is the Boucheron corporate logo. You can see what I put in for my alternative text. So out of all of the files that we updated for the business website, let me just go into that folder. There are corporate logos, and then there are application logos. So you have Boucheron, Bank of America, Wells Fargo corporate logos. This is an application, and it could just be called SSRS logo, VBA logo, SQL logo. This one would be Power Automate logo, Power BI logo. There's a couple more. Our corporate logo, Gucci corporate logo, and DaVita Dialysis corporate logo. And then you have 3 that are called Power BI Viz, 1, 2, and 3. Those are just Power BI visualizations. The second one is a Power BI multi-visualization. And again, that's only if you want to go ahead and put in alternative text. It's not a required step. I will say that adding alternative text to your images or media files really helps your site become more accessible. So now let's go ahead and go to Pages. And we're going to get started. And we know that our Coming Soon page is enabled. So, we talked about hybrid sites where you have static pages. I'm not going to do anything about my blog pages at this point. I might set up a blog site at some point in the future, or just convert this back to a blog site at the end. And so what we're going to do here is just add our new pages using that Word document, Pages and Posts, that I gave you. So my idea here is to create one page, and then we'll choose a different theme, and then we'll create the other pages. We'll find a theme that's better suited for our site. And so I'm going to go ahead and add a new page. And the title is going to be mission statement. We're going from top to bottom in that Word document. And then I'm going to click where it says type because it's all paragraphs. And I'm going to go ahead and select that one paragraph in the Word document, copy it, and then come over here and paste it. I'm going to click underneath there. So this is what we want on our page, mission statement. So what I'm going to do now is I can go up and preview it in a new tab and see what it looks like with our current theme. And what I'll say here is I'm seeing the text, mission statement, and that paragraph. But notice, even though we're using Nifty coming soon, when I view it this way, I'm still seeing everything on the left and right sidebars based on this theme. And we're going to fix all of that. So nothing about the blog, including the name at the top and my tagline, The Enthusiastic Gardener, is going to show when we're done. So I'm going to just get back to my pages. And you'll notice, because I didn't go back and save it, my mission statement is in draft mode. I'm going to just go ahead and edit it real quick. So at the page level, one way that you can get rid of those sidebars is if you scroll down, if you have your settings panel open on the right, and you scroll down, you'll see that it has the default layout from the current theme. And the current theme has both a left and a right sidebar. I am going to select no sidebar full width. And I'm going to go up and save a draft again. And then I'm going to go to preview and preview it again in a new tab. And so for this particular mission statement page, we don't have the sidebars. We still have some other gardening stuff on here. Our menus are going to need to be customized, all of that kind of stuff. We might want to get rid of some of the social icons. So we'll be cleaning it up, but I just wanted to show you one way of getting rid of those sidebars. Now, if we're going to want to make the mission statement our home page, it needs to be published. And it's okay if we publish it because we have our coming soon enabled. So what I can do is I can just do, I think I can do it from quick edit here. Let's see. The status on the right. And I'm going to just choose published. And then there's an update button. So now we are going to go ahead and change a couple of things, and then we're going to find the theme that we're going to use and look for one that doesn't have those sidebars. So the first thing I want to do is I want to change my site name and tagline. And so you're going to do that by going to General Settings. And so I'm going to put as my site title, Connor Cato Consulting. I'm going to put Elevate Your Skills as my tagline. So that will change once you scroll to the bottom and click on Save Changes. And now I've gone to Reading Settings, and I'm going to change my home page to the mission statement. That's why we had to publish it. If you have it in draft, it won't show on this drop down. And for my post page, I'm going to just choose Select. And then at the bottom, Save Changes. So now I'm on the Themes page under Appearance. And the thing is that a theme, we went over earlier factors to consider when you're choosing a theme. This is a software consulting website. I'm going to give you some free reign here. So I'd like you to find a theme that works for you. It doesn't have to work for me. Find a theme that works for you. Try to find a theme. It doesn't need a social menu. Try to find a theme that doesn't have any sidebars, but at least has 2 different menus. Most of them have 2 different menus, but we want one without a sidebar. So go ahead and find a theme that you can use for our business website. So I found a theme that I like, and I'm in Customize. So you can see that I picked a theme called 2017. It doesn't have any sidebars. It has a couple of menu locations. Normally, when I activate a theme, I like to come and look at menus if it doesn't have a detailed description. So this one has a primary menu, which is currently set to the top menu. There's a secondary menu, and then there is a social media menu. You're not required to use all of these menus. And so this is right here. And again, we're going to change it so it doesn't have any of our blog stuff on it. But you can see that is known as the top menu. And I like the look of the site. There's the mission statement. And of course, I'm going to get rid of some of these other widgets from the blog site. I'm going to just do the back arrow right now. And before I do any customization to this, I would like to add more pages and then customize. So I'm going to just do the X at the top of the customize panel. One of the things I want to do on the pages screen is I'm going to do the check mark in front of title to select all of the pages. And then I'm going to uncheck mission statement and that draft privacy policy. I'm going to go to the bulk actions dropdown and select edit and then the apply button. And I'm going to change the status of these gardening blog pages to private this time. So it won't be visible to the public if we were to relaunch this site. Even if they know the URL, they won't be able to see it. It's only available for authorized users who are logged into the dashboard. So that's why I decided to go private on these at this point. Now, draft is like if you're working on a page and you need to finish it later, you can save it as a draft. It's like that privacy policy page included in WordPress core that they give you. If you want to use it, you can make changes to it and then you can publish it. So, and you know, the only other status here is pending review. Depending on user capabilities, they may not automatically be able to post pages and things like, or post. And so they need to be reviewed first by someone with the right capabilities. So I'm going to go ahead and click update here. And then we're going to add a new page. So we're going to use the who we are paragraph. And then I'm going to publish. And go back to pages. And now I'm going to have you create the process page on your own, as well as the other services page. And publish the process page. Leave the other services page in edit mode when you're done. So I want to add some more text manually to this page and do a couple of format changes. So for documentation, I'm going to just click on it And on its toolbar, I'm going to click the paragraph symbol, and I'm going to change it to a heading. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to have you do the same with video one-on-one training sessions and group training sessions. And then let's change all of the headings from H2, right on their toolbars, to H3 to make them just a little bit smaller. And so I've just collapsed my Yoast SEO and content permission pane so I have more working room. And I'm going to hover underneath documentation and click the plus sign to add a block. And I'm going to choose paragraph. And I'm going to just type one sentence. And you can take a moment and copy that paragraph. We're going to insert a paragraph underneath video, a shorter sentence. So here are the rest of the sentences that I added for the other headings. And when you're done getting them in, we can go ahead and publish this page. So we are going to add a couple of more pages together now. Let's go ahead and click on Add New. And let's name this page Previous Clients. And then I'm going to click the plus sign to add a block. I'm going to type the letter G and select the gallery block. And we'll see if this looks okay. So I want to use it for some of the corporate logos that are now in our media library. So I'm going to choose Select Images, go to the media library, and it's telling me at the top no folder is selected. So I'm going to click on that because of our Real Media plugin. And I'm going to just choose Business Website. And so let's see, I have 5 corporate logos. So I'm going to start with Boucheron, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Gucci, and DaVita Dialysis. And I think I put the caption in the wrong place for DaVita, so I'm going to just see if I can cut that and put it in alt text. And now in the bottom right, I'm going to say create a new gallery. Well, I did say it, but I clicked the button as well. So we don't have to put captions on any of these. I don't know why there are question marks coming in under Bank of America, but I'm going to let it go by deleting it. And then I'm going to insert the gallery. And I do not like the way this looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it. And then I am going to click on its option button. And at the bottom, I want to make sure I have set for gallery. I want to make sure I have that whole thing selected and not just an image in it. There, now it's selected. Now I can go to its options and remove the gallery. And so for right now, I'm going to just type the names of the previous clients, and then I'll make a note. I would have to go and edit all of those media files with the logos to get them sized properly so they look good together in a gallery. And I don't want to take the time in the course to do that right now. So we're just going to list these companies. in a bulleted list block. So I'm going to do the plus sign, and I'm going to just type list, and I'm going to select list. So it defaults to bullets, and that's what I want to use. So we're going to type each company as a separate bullet point for now. And there is our list. Let's go ahead and publish it after you get your list filled in. Publish the page. And I'm back on Pages. So now we're going to go back and customize. So I'm just going to Appearance Customize. The first thing I'm going to do is expand site identity. And I don't want to use a site logo, but I'd like to try to use a site icon. And so let's go to the bottom and select site icon. And I have one where it has like a logo and it said Connor Cato Consulting on it. That's what I'm going to use. It's going to have to be cropped, and that's fine. It'll guide us through the process. So that's the one that I'm going to be selecting. And then on the right, I'm going to choose Select. And so it can only be a certain size, so you can crop within that size. I just want to get the logo, not the text. So I just move that box over. And so over here, you can preview it. You'll see it. This is what it will show up on a browser tab, and then as an app icon. On the bottom right, crop the image. And so we have that done. Now we can use the back arrow to the left of site identity to get back to our other options. So on the right side, I'm going to just scroll down, and you can see that it added the who we are, the process, other service, and previous clients pages to that top menu. We're still going to adjust it. And the rest of the page going down is just all white. We're, again, going to get rid of the blog stuff. So what I like to do on the left, on the customizer, is I'm going to open up colors, and I'm going to change to a dark color scheme, which I prefer. And I'm going to change my header text color. Instead of this white color up here, I'm going to select a color there. And I'm going to select this orange color. And then I'm going to make it lighter by dragging down the slider. Kind of like that. Maybe just a little bit darker. Yeah, so it contrasts. Because I'm going to keep that picture there. I actually, when my team and I meet, we have a table that looks similar to that, and I have several succulents around. So I'm happy with that picture there. I'm going to do the back arrow on colors. And our next stop is menus. So the first thing I like to do, again, with menus is going to view all locations, right? So we saw this a little bit earlier. And so my top menu is the primary menu, and I'm happy with that. However, I do want to edit that menu. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Edit Menu underneath that. And I am going to do the down arrow on those 4 private pages and remove them. So nothing about the blog site should be showing on the menu now. And I scrolled to the bottom just to double check under menu options. Automatically add new top level pages to this menu is checked. And that's why it's been adding every page we create to this menu. And we want to make sure that that is checked because we'd like that to happen. So I'm going to go to the back arrow at the top again. And I'm going to go to secondary menu. And let's do the back arrow for a minute. Let's go to social media menu first, because we should have some social media on our site. So I decided to go ahead and do this, or you could use a secondary menu for your social media like we did previously. So I think this is going to be key for our site. I don't really need a secondary menu for anything. Like I don't have categories like I did in the blog, which was a good idea to have on a secondary menu. So I'm going to go ahead and use this social media menu. And it has Facebook and YouTube on it. I'm going to go to add items. And at the top, I'm going to expand custom links. And so this is where I can put in the information, like if I wanted to add LinkedIn, things of that nature. Right now, I'll bring that data up so we can use some of these URLs. So I'm just going to add Twitter here. And again, I'm using Learnit's accounts here for right now. So that would be your https://twitter.com. If you're using Learnit as an example, it's another / and then Learnit Anywhere, all one word. And I'm going to just put this in as Twitter and add to the menu. Now it carried over the URLs from Facebook and YouTube from when I had them on the previous theme. And then I'm going to go back one more time. So at the bottom under menu locations, it lets me know that this theme can display menus in 2 locations. So I have the top menu and the social media menu set up. And I'm not using that secondary menu, which has all my categories on it. So that's not going to be there. And so we have our top menu set. And if I scroll all the way to the bottom, I'll see my social menu. And I want to change the order. I want it to be Facebook, Twitter, and then YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my social media menu. And here I can click on the reorder button. And so I'm going to move YouTube down. And actually I'm going to put Twitter above Facebook. So Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And I'm going to select done. I'm going to do the back arrow again and again. I'm going to scroll back up to the top. And I think what I'm going to do is I really need to change the color of this heading. So one of the things we haven't talked about are these pencil icons. I decide that I don't want the tagline there. So I'm going to click on the pencil closest to the tagline. And it takes me here to site identity. And I'm going to just delete my tagline. I don't want it on the site. Yeah, and I think I'm cool with this color. I might make my color just a little bit darker. So I'm going to go back and then back to colors. And I'm going to make this darker. And back arrow again. So let's go ahead and publish at the top of your customizer. A lot of times when I'm working in here, I publish after everything I do just so I don't risk losing anything. So I let that go a little bit long. But now let's go to widgets and expand that. So it has this blog sidebar and we don't want anything on this. And so I'm going to remove both the heading by going to its toolbar. And then I'm going to select that latest comment and remove latest comments as well. And I'm going to publish that. Let's see what the effect is here. I'm going to go back as well. So now we have, I'm still seeing, okay, latest post. So latest posts are in footer 1 as well as archives. So we want to get rid of the headings and the content. And so I'm going to publish again here. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to footer 2 and it has archives in there. So I'm going to remove archives. Publish a final time. And we can go ahead and close the customize panel. And this time would be a good time to go and visit the site and see what changes we have made to it. So I'm going to go up top and hover over Connor Cato Consulting, and then I'm going to choose Visit Site. So now I can see what we have done. There's our menu. Now this, when I scroll down, I see the mission statement, who we are, takes me to that page. I have my likes set on here, and I'm seeing my social menu at the bottom, the process, so on and so forth, other services, and previous clients. And I'm going to go back to the clock, and I'll just go back to themes just to get out of here, or just click on the clock. It takes me to my dashboard. All right, let's go back to pages. Now we're going to edit our previous clients page to add the industry info that's in that Word document. So I've just added a paragraph block underneath the list of previous clients, and I'm going to paste the industry info in. And then I want to put the actual industries into a list because these are all individual paragraphs right now. So I'm going to just drag from retail to agriculture, click on the paragraph icon on the toolbar, and select list. I'm going to change the we've consulted in the following industries paragraph to a heading. And I'm going to leave it on H2, heading 2. I'm going to click in between agriculture and the we've consulted in all states paragraph and add a block. And it's going to be another heading block. And it's going to say locations where we've consulted with a colon at the end. And now we're going to go ahead and update that page. And by the way, since we're in the page, we're in editing a page, a new page, or even in a new page, you'll see the logo there now that we put in through customize instead of the W, the WordPress logo, the default WordPress logo. So that's how it shows in an app. And you know how it shows on a browser tab. I'm going to go ahead and go back to Pages. And we're going to add one more page. You can go ahead and close the Pages and Post Word document. We're going to be using the What We Consult On Word document for our final page here. So let's go ahead and go back into Add New. The title is going to be Consulting Services. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pretty much copy everything that's in that document. And once I paste everything in, I want to do a little bit of cleanup here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down till I get to Power Automate. And I want to make these list items into a list. So I'm going to change those lines to list. See if we have anything else to do like that. No. And then for each one's heading, I'm going to change that to heading. And let's see. I don't want H2. I think H3 is good. So make the other ones headings, H3. And now we're going to add some images to this page, not in a gallery form. So I'm going to hover underneath the Power BI heading, click the plus sign, and if you need to search for it, search for image, or it may show on your list. And I'm going to choose Select Image from Media Library. And this is the Power BI image here. So I'm going to select it. And on the right side on the bottom, I'm going to choose Select. And notice how it has these two circles on it. I can actually resize the image there if I need to. So depending on how the other images look as they come in, we'll see. But it's just a little icon. That's the icon for Power BI. We're going to do the same under Power Automate. Going to add that image block. Get to your library. And this is the Power Automate image. So I'm going to select it. Looks like a blue chevron-y arrow. And I'm going to go ahead and select. Going to scroll down, hover under Power Apps, insert the image block. And I'll point out, this is the Power Apps one, the one that's kind of purplish. Going down to SQL Server, SQL Scripting. And this one you can see on your own, Microsoft SQL Server. Select. And this one, I'm going to make it smaller to fit in with the other ones so far. And then we have two more to do. So let's grab those images. The next one is SQL Server Reporting Services. And that one is like the orange one, ssrs.png. And last but not least, VBA, Visual Basic for Applications. And that is the one that kind of looks like a spreadsheet with some stuff in the upper left-hand corner. And I'm looking back over the sizes of everything, and it looks like everything is pretty much the same size, except maybe VBA needs to be a little bit larger. Just a hair. And I could spend hours on stuff like that, and I won't make you suffer through that. Let's go ahead and publish this page. So I'm pretty happy with how that consulting services page looks. The only thing I'm seeing is I think the Power BI icon needs to be just a little bit wider. And maybe Visual Basic as well. So I'm going to go back in the page and fiddle with a few of the icons a little bit. You can do that on your own if you'd like to. The other thing that catches my attention is the order of the items on the menu. All right. I want it to be, so we should have mission statement, who we are, consulting services, other services, and then the process. So there's a more complicated way of fixing that and an easier way of fixing that. We're going to use the easier way. So up top, I'm going to go to that top menu and click on Customize. And I'm going to go to Menus and then Primary. And I'm going to choose Reorder at the bottom. And I'm just going to move Other Services up one and choose Done. And now I'm going to publish that. So now on the left sidebar, I'm on WP Forms, All Forms. It's time for us to build a contact form so we can get information for people who are interested in our consulting services. So if you notice on the left sidebar, it has All Forms, Add New. There's a new setting there. It now has form templates, which you can use. I prefer to create my form from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I can either click Add New up here, or I could just click Create Your Form. I'm going to click Add New. Now I should say that WP Forms comes with WordPress Core, and this is the free version. They also have an upgraded version where you can do things like use logic. So say, for example, you ask someone what consulting service they're interested in, and they select Power BI. And then once they select that, it can ask further questions. Are you interested in map visualizations? Are you interested in cleaning your data within Power BI? So on and so forth. So we are going to start by entering a form name. And our form name, Consulting Services. And I'm actually going to put the S in services in parentheses and then needed. So after you put in the form name, we're going to create a blank form. We're going to use the blank form template. Now, I should mention that we also get some forms through Jetpack. I actually prefer these WP forms better than the ones that are offered in Jetpack at this time. There are a host of plugins that you can use for forms, and most of them you'd have to upgrade to get like the premium features, like using logic on questions. So on the left side, you'll see a series of icons, and then you have your Add Fields tab that you're on, and you also have a Field Options tab over there as well. And then on the right side is where you're going to build your form. And you have some buttons up top: Help, Preview, Embed, Save, and Get Me the Heck Out of Here, X. On the Add Fields panel, it's showing you standard fields. As you scroll down, you'll notice that all of what they call fancy fields are dimmed out, as well as payment fields. You would need the premium version of WP Forms in order to have access to those fields. For our purposes, we're good with the free version at this point. I had the upgraded version of this for a long time and then didn't need it anymore. So I'm back to using the free version, which suits me just fine. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select paragraph text under standard fields. All right. So I'm going to click on paragraph text, and it adds it on the right side. And when I click on it on the right side, it brings up this general panel. The label is paragraph text, and I'm going to change that to How Can We Help? Where we're actually going to go, I don't need a description. I'm going to just go to the Advanced tab at the top. I'm going to leave the field size the way it is right now, and I'm going to go into Placeholder Text. And I'm going to type, please let us know which application, and I'm going to put the plural S in parentheses, you are interested in having us help you with. I don't have to limit the length. I don't have a default value in there. I'm not doing any of that. Down at the bottom, if I say hide the label, it won't show how can we help. It puts that eyeball in front of it, so I don't want to do that. And I'm going to change it to small font size. And then I'll go to large just to see what I want, right? And I'm going to change it back to small. And we can always come back and modify these. And so that Smart Logic tab is dimmed out because you need the upgraded version in order to use that. Now, up top, I'm going to go to Field Options, that Field Options tab. And that's the same place. When I go there, it takes me right back to Advanced, where we just were. I'm going to go back to Add Fields. And now under Standard Fields, I'm going to select Multiple Choice. And then I'm going to select that block so I get its general settings. And so now that we have that multiple choice on the left side for the label, I'm going to type, please select application with the S in parentheses of interest and a colon. Where it says first choice, so I'm going to replace first choice with Power BI. The second choice is going to be Power Automate. Third is going to be Power Apps. And then we have the opportunity to add more choices. And we want them to be able to choose more than one choice, which is why we selected multiple choice here. So over on the right side of Power Apps, right, you'll see you have that plus sign and the minus sign. And I've clicked the plus sign to get another entry box. This one is going to be SQL Server / SQL Scripting. Gonna plus sign again. And then I'm going to do SQL Server Reporting Services, and in parentheses, SSRS, as it's commonly referred to. And then we're going to add one more, and that is Visual Basic for Applications, and in parentheses, VBA, as it's commonly referred to. So we have our choices there. And I'm going to go back to my paragraph block. And I'm going to edit that placeholder text. I'm going to just click in there and press N to get to the end of it. Going to get rid of the period. Please let us know which applications you're interested in having us help you with by selecting from the list below. And then I'm going to click back on my multiple choice block. And on the general tab on the left, I'm going to choose use image choices. Not sure if this is going to work, but we'll see. We're going to use the images that we have for these. So here you see it wants me to upload an image. Just takes me to my media library. I'm going to go to no folder selected and choose business website. And this one is for Power BI, so it's the yellow one. And I'm going to use image on the lower right. And then I'm going to do the same for Power Automate. I don't have to choose the folder. It's just right here anyway. That's the blue one. Use image. And this is why I'm not going to like it, because I don't like when the images are not sized appropriately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle use image choices just to get rid of them. So nice idea. At some point, I will spend time getting those picture size for this, as well as the other pictures for the corporate logos. But right now, that's not important to do. So we have them. We have our consulting services needed form. How can we help? Please let us know, blah, blah, blah. Please select applications of interest. And notice down here, you can click to edit and drag to reorder if you wanted to reorder these. I do not. It says you could use icon choices too, but you need to have an icon library installed. So we're going to cancel that. I'm just going over your things at the bottom. And this one, I'm going to make it required. So they have to choose something, or they wouldn't be reaching out to us. And we're almost done with this form. Let's go ahead and save it. And then under Add Fields, we're going to select Name. And then we're going to select Email. And we're going to select another paragraph text field. And we're going to click on that block, the paragraph text block. The label is going to be response time. And then we're going to go to the Advanced tab to go to Placeholder Text, where we're going to type, our policy is to respond to inquiries within 24 hours, comma, excluding U.S. holidays and weekends. And I'm going to add to that response time, go back to our placeholder text and go to the end of it. And I'll say, if necessary, feel free to call. And I'm just going to put in a make-believe phone number here. And I actually should probably put my country code of 1 in front of it, because I always want to click in that box to, and I guess here it says click to edit, right? But I have to do it over here. So I'm going to just add the country code 1+ to that. So that is our form. And we're going to go ahead and save it. And then we can preview it. I'm going to close this form and go back to preview. I'm trying to get that. I wanted to close this window, but okay. So how can we help? Please select applications of interest, multiple choice, first and last name, email, and then our response time policy, and then they have their submit button. And I'm going to close this window and go back to the form. On the left side, let's go to settings, and our general settings are there. We don't need to do anything there. We have our spam protection and security set. Let's go to notifications. Actually, I'm going to get away from there real quick. So now we can look at notifications. I had to put my privacy blockers up. So it's when people fill out the form, you'll get an email. That's what this is about. And it's going to the admin email address, has the subject line that you'll see in the email, from, and it will be from your site name and from admin email. So that's what's happening there. Now I have a warning on my page. I had to put up my privacy blockers. The current from email address does not match your website domain name. Well, that's a security issue for me. I don't want my admin email to be an email with my domain. And my host actually recommends doing that. So if I have any issues, and I've never had them before, it's recommending a plugin there if you have those issues. But I haven't had those issues, and I've used this before. And down at the bottom, you would need Pro to enable file upload attachments or entry CSV attachments. And on the left side now, I'm going to go to confirmations. And so if a visitor fills out a form, they will get a default confirmation. And so the confirmation type here is an email. which works for us. It's just simply, thanks for contacting us. We will be in touch with you shortly. You can modify that text, of course. When they submit a form, it will automatically scroll to the confirmation message for them. And if you upgrade to Pro, after they get their confirmation, it would show a preview of their entry. So that's all that's there. We're going to go ahead and save again. So now it's time to embed our form on a page. So we're going to go to Embed in the upper right corner. It allows you to select an existing page, create a new page. You can embed your form manually or use a shortcode. We're going to choose Create a New Page. And the name of the page is going to be Let Us Help. And I'm going to choose Let's Go. And it opens that page with the form embedded in it. And so we could add other stuff to this page. We are just going to publish it. And I'm going to go to View Page. So this is where this form doesn't look good with the background of my page. Up here, I'm going to go to Customize on that top bar. And on the Customize pane, I'm going to expand colors. And it was originally on light, but I don't want that. I changed it to dark, and that doesn't work with that form. So I'm going to do Custom. And I'm going to drag this bar over to like the orangey colors, not a yellow. See if it even takes that. Let's see what happens with that one. I think I have to do publish because I'm not seeing that change. And it's not taking that color change. So it doesn't seem to want to accept my color change. And that's something I've made a note to myself to deal with it a little bit later, right? And so I'm going to just leave it on white now. I'm going to go back to Customize so I can get that menu correct. So it's the primary menu we're concerned about. So I'm going to do Reorder. And we want our mission statement. And then who we are. I love when I keep clicking the up button and I'm on the wrong panel because it already moved up. So mission statement, who we are, consulting services would be next. Other services, the process, previous clients, and let us help. And then let's publish that change. And you can close that customizer panel. So I've gone into the mission statement page. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to click the plus sign under the paragraph and I'm going to add an image. And we're going to choose select image. And this time we're going to use Pexels Free Photos. And it defaults to bringing up pattern as the media. And what we're going to do is type business office for our search for this particular page, our mission statement page. And so I'm going to use, let's see, I can scroll down. There's quite a few. I like the people working at the wooden table together, so I'm going to actually select that one and insert it. And once I have that image in, I am going to update this page. And I'm going to go back to my pages. I'll view them all after I get them done. So that was our mission statement page, our front page. So our other business pages, we want to add images to. And we can, I would say, except for the Let Us Help page, the contact form page, the other ones we're going to add images to. And I'm using Pexel's free images. You can search for things like computer, business office, trust, and add whatever images you like to those additional pages. And then I'll do a show and tell when you're done. So now I'll show you what I've done. I'm going to start going page by page, the mission statement. I have this picture on here, and I actually will probably at some point replace it. However, right now it's good, and it might even stay. On who we are, I put in a placeholder picture. So remember, this is the page that we want to have a sub page. So then we have the team, and then I'll have team photos. So we're going to get that set up. Not the whole thing, but this is just a placeholder. And then consulting services. I didn't put any other images on here because this page is pretty full and it has the little icons representing all of the applications there. So I decided not to put another image on that. Other services, I found an image that says here to help, and I put that right under documentation. And then the process page, I found this, which is as close as I get to a process. Now, what I really wanted was something like a flow chart. So I'll probably grab a flow chart photo from somewhere else and place this here, a process flow chart with swim lanes and stuff like that. And in previous clients, I didn't put anything on because I want to eventually get those logos that I have on this page. And I decided to put an image on the Let Us Help page with the form because I found this Success Go Get It image and I thought that would be really cool to have there. So hopefully you have images that you can live with for right now on your pages. So what I've done is just outline this page. Again, this is going to be a sub page to who we are. And I've just kind of outlined how I want it to go. So there's 7 of us. I'm going to have image 1, bio 1, image 2, so on and so forth. And now I'm going to go ahead and publish this page. Again, we have our nifty coming soon page up, so no one will see this. And then what I want to do is copy the page address on the right. And now I'm going to go back to pages. Going to go down under appearance and go to customize. And we're going to go to menus. And we're going to click on our primary menu. And you see how Meet the Team is at the bottom? We're going to move it up and we're going to make it a sub page of who we are. So I'm going to go ahead and click reorder and move it up to underneath who we are. And then you'll notice on the right side of it, there's a right pointing arrow. We're going to click that once. And so now you'll see on your primary menu, who we are has a drop down arrow. And when you hover over it, it will direct you to the Meet the CCC Team page. And on the left, we're going to click Done. We're going to go ahead and use our back button to get out of customizing menus and just back to the main customizer page. And now we're going to click on widgets to expand it, and then footer 1. And so I just deleted something I had in there from before. And I'm going to click the plus sign. And I'm going to search for button. And then I'm going to click on buttons. The text is going to say, contact us. And then when I look at the toolbar here, right, I can select buttons. That's the first choice, right? So it's selected. You can click away from it, go back to it, and get the full toolbar. This is the button. I can change the style. It has fill. I can put an outline on it and drag it. I have no place to move it, so those arrows are dimmed out. I can do the justification and the vertical alignment, line the text within the button. And the other choice I have here is link. So I'm going to go ahead and click on link. And then I'm going to paste in that page URL. And even though we copied the URL for Meet the CCC team, we're going to replace that with let us dash help with a / at the end. So let us help /. And then I can press enter or do the circular arrow to get the link attached to that button. And then I'm going to tell it to open the link in a new tab. And then I'm going to publish. And I'm going to scroll down on the page until I see that Contact Us button. And when I click on it, it should take us to the Let Us Help page where we have our contact form. I'm going to go ahead and close the customizer. And I'm just going to go up to the top and visit the site so that I can give it another final walkthrough. It's my mission statement page. Who we are, and it has that Meet the CCC team page, which is just outlined right now. Consulting services, other services, the process, previous clients, and let us help. And we have our social media icons at the bottom. At this point, we know there's more media editing that needs to be done. I'm not going to worry about it. I would have to replace the phone number on my form with a real phone number, so on and so forth. Need to finish the Meet the CCC team page up. So, but basically, we have a business site that is usable in its current form. So I am going to start the last lesson, one-page websites, in this module by showing you the page that I've created for the site. And then we're going to create this page together. There is also a folder in the Files for Media description called One Page Website, and we're going to be using items in that folder. So I have a page. I named it all about us. I have a slide show block in it, which consists of 12 slides that I made based off of the information that we had on our previous site on different pages. So here's our mission statement, and then who we are. I have a slide that just says consulting services, and then I have Power BI, Power Automate, Power Apps, SQL Server and SQL Scripting, SQL Server Reporting Services, Visual Basic for Applications, the process, other services, previous clients, and then it cycles through. And so one of the things I realized going through this is that I want other services after the consulting services. So what I'm going to do here, just so you'll see what it's really going to look like, is I clicked on edit on its toolbar, and this is where I can drag and drop these to different positions. So I'm going to just move this in front of the process, update the gallery, and I'll go backwards because they're toward the end. So you have all of your services, and then other services, the process, and then previous clients. So that's the first thing I put on this page. And then underneath that, I embedded our contact form. And underneath that, I added that reusable mail and social media block. And so we are going to start building this together for a one-page website. Now, there are a lot of examples on the internet of one-page websites, typically recommended for small businesses. I mean, I would consider my business a small business, but I prefer to have a full-blown website for mine. But we're going to set this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this. I'll just go back to pages. So we will create another page in just a few moments. So I'm back in my media library, and the first thing I'm going to do is create a new folder, and I'm going to call it One Page Website. And I'll just point out here, when we were choosing photos using pixels, you'll notice those photos ended up in our library as well. So on the left, we're going to go add new under media library. And I'm going to choose select files. And I'm in that one page website folder. And I'm going to just kind of click and drag across all of the files to select them and choose open. And I've scrolled down to make sure that all of them have loaded. And now we're going to go back to pages. Since we want to mimic a one-page website here, we are going to select all of the pages from our business website. So starting with consulting services, let us help, meet the team, mission statement, which is the front page, other services, and previous clients. And we're going to go up to the top for bulk actions. And we're going to choose edit and apply. And we want to change these pages to private temporarily. And update. And I didn't notice at the bottom, I'm going to select the process and who we are. And I'm going to do the bulk action. I can get to it from the bottom. Edit and apply. And I'm going to change those to private as well and update. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move this All About Us page that I created to the trash. And I can get it back if I need to. I'm not going to permanently delete it. So I'm adding a new page now. And I'm going to call it All About Us, exclamation point. And then I'm going to do the plus sign to choose a block. And the block that I'm going to choose is called Slideshow. And then I am going to select images from the media library. And I won't worry about the order they're in right now. We have 4, 8, 12. So I selected all of them. And in the lower right corner, I'm going to create a new gallery. And this is where I get to drag and drop to reorder them. And it would be nicer if they were a little bit bigger here. So the first one, the first position I want, mission statement. And you can always click on it and then you can see in the side what it is. And then the second one, I believe, is already who we are. Okay, let me find the next one that we want. It's the one that we're going to get consulting services and move that into the third position. And then we're going to find the Power BI one. And we want that in fourth place. Power Automate is going to go after Power BI. Power Apps after Power Automate. And then we're going to want our SQL Server, SQL Scripting one after Power Apps. And then we have SQL Server Reporting Services. So after SSRS, we want VBA, but I can always come back and get it. So after SSRS, we're going to have other services, the process, and then previous clients. So what it looks like I'm missing is VBA. I'm not putting captions or alt text on these at this point. I'm going to insert the gallery. And let me just go through it. Mission statement, who we are, consulting services. Oh, there's Visual Basic for applications. It was in the wrong place. So I'm going to click on the edit button. And I am going to move VBA to after SSRS. VBA, SQL Service Reporting Services. There's that one. VBA, other services, the process, previous clients. And now I'm going to update the gallery again. And I'm going to go ahead and open the settings button while I have my gallery selected. So for my slideshow, I'm going to set it to autoplay and I'm going to take it, I think the max is 5 seconds. So I'm going to just put it on a delay of 5 seconds. You can see it happening. Transition, it's just sliding. I can put a fade effect on it if I want. And you'll see it fades. I prefer to slide transition in this case. The settings are large for the slides, and that's fine. I've already published this page, even though it's still in progress. I would like to save it as a draft, but if I do that, then WP Forms won't be able to find it to embed the form on it. So go ahead and publish your page. I'll just do an update on mine. And I'm going to go back to Pages. And then on the left sidebar, I'm going to click on WP Forms. And you can see our form is sitting there. I'm going to click Edit. And I'm going to go back to the Embed button in the upper right and click Embed. So if we had saved that page as a draft and we have all of our other pages private, it wouldn't even have the option here to select an existing page, only create a new one. So we're going to select existing page, and it's the only page that we have that's not private at this point, or that privacy policy, which is in draft. And then I'm going to say, let's go. So it doesn't actually embed it. It's giving you some information on there. So you're going to toggle the block. You can click done on that message. You're going to toggle the block inserter plus sign in the upper left corner. And you're going to type WP Forms, or start typing it. And now it's a block in there. So I'm going to click on that block. And it added it. And then you get to select the form. So we only have the one form. And now we have that form embedded. And I'm going to select that form so it has the blue border going around it. And I'm going to open up the settings panel on the right. And so the form settings on the right side, I'm going to scroll down. The field styles is medium. All of that is good. I'm going to do some changes on this one. So I'm going to try a background color. And I'm going to go with the orange. And text color. Nah. I'll make the text color. Let's see. No, that orange is not dark enough. Let's see. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to put the text on black for a minute. Go back to background, and I'm going to choose that reddish color. That kind of looks more like the background of the slide. And then I'm going to go to text and change it to white. And then I'm going to keep on the right side, I'm going to keep scrolling down. So under field styles, that was colors. Now we're at label styles, and we have colorations here too. So the label, I'm going to make that reddish color as well. And let's see. So a sub-label would be something like first and last. I'm going to make that red as well. And you could choose other colors, obviously, if you'd like to. And so we have our slideshow. We have our form. And underneath the form, we're going to click the plus sign. And we want to add our mail and social media icons reusable block. And so that's that page. Now, something else I can do is I can go and modify these individual slides and add some photos to them or some other images to them, similar to some of the images that we had for the business website. But this would be a pretty good example of a one-page website. I mean, if I just wanted to have one page, this could very well be a minimalistic version of my site. So I'm going to go ahead and update this page. And then I'm going to view the page. And of course, if we're going to make this one page, we're going to have to go and modify the menu, right? And I don't mind keeping the social menu down there at the bottom, multiple places for them to access that. So I still have like my header and all of that kind of stuff. So let's go up to customize. So you'll get the full feel of this. And we're going to go to menus. And I'm going to click on view all locations. And then for primary, I am going to edit the menu. I was looking to see if there's anything else we need to change. And I think the only other thing would be homepage settings. So we need to set our homepage to all about us. So the homepage is the landing page when visitors visit your site. And then we can go ahead and publish those customization changes. Close the customizer. And now if you go and I'm going to go up to the top and visit my site. And so I have the one page. This is showing the number of slides in the slideshow, but it wouldn't show that if it was live. This is just us viewing it. So that's what my one-page site could look like. A lot of the same information that was on the multi-page business site, but just condensed on one page. That's why that slideshow block is really cool on a one-page site. So I'm going to just go back to my WordPress. So I have my sidebar there. So in this module, we moved from our blog site. We went over some basics of creating a non-blog website, most of which you had already done. You also saw, even though it wasn't on the slide, through those Word documents that I gave you, that I kind of draft out the text that I want on my site. I usually do it in Word. And then I'm kind of more organized when I start building my pages and things like that. We moved on to discussing static versus dynamic websites. And you learned that nowadays most websites are known as hybrid websites, where they have both static and dynamic pages. And so I gave you the pros and cons of both static and dynamic sites. In the third lesson, we created our business website. We did a backup of our blog site, and we also exported all of its contents in case we want to restore it. Or we can use the export XML file, which is in your download folder. So we exported everything, and then we exported the media separately. And so I could actually recreate that blog on a whole new WordPress installation by importing that XML file. Then we started creating pages for our business website. We added media to the media library. We added a plugin so that we would be able to add folders in our media library for organization. So we created a folder for the gardening blog. We put all of the media for that in there. Then we uploaded the media for business websites, put all the media in there. And then in the final lesson, I showed you a one page that would represent a one-page website. And then we recreated it. So we added a slideshow block with mini slides that represented a lot of the pages in our business website. We embedded our contact form onto that one page, and we added the reusable mail and social icons block to it before going and doing some further menu customization. And you learned how to add the other pages for the blog site, and you learned how to hide the blog site pages by making them private, as well as the business website pages, making them private, so that once we get rid of our coming soon, if we were to get rid of that and the site is already launched, it would just show that one page, which we also set as the home page, so it's the landing page for visitors. So I'd like to thank everyone for viewing this WordPress course. Again, my name is Trish Connor Cato, and it's been my pleasure to present this video to you.